So yeah, we'll hand it across to Leanne to give you a bit of a talk.
Do you need a seat, Leanne?
No, I'll stand. Thank you.
I'll just keep
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to share my story and my experience with the Be Your Own Boss pilot program. As you all note, I'm comfortable to have a script in front of me, and this is why. 34 years ago, I was a sleeping passenger in a horrific motor vehicle accident. I sustained multiple injuries, including an acquired brain injury, which went undiagnosed and untreated for 25 years. 1 month prior to my accident, my nana died of Alzheimer's dementia. 5 years later, my own mum was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, which turned to dementia. I witnessed the decline of my mum for 15 years. Dad made a little cardboard card that had the words, "My partner has dementia, do not be alarmed by unusual behaviour." I had to teach myself and relearn how to do a lot of things after my injury. Knitting was one of them. 4 years ago, I created a mascot brain beanie as a visual demonstration of how my brain was affected from my injury. The right side is coloured in grey to show where the neurons were severely damaged from the violent impact and whiplash. As a result of my brain injury, I live with severe tiredness, better known in the medical world as neurofatigue, short-term memory challenges, hence my script, dizziness, vertigo and balance issues, extreme sensitivity to flashing lights and loud noises. I also have speech challenges known as aphasia and a host of other invisible disabilities. Through my own experience, I know that a lot of disabled people find themselves in similar situations like I have myself in the past. I always loved going to music festivals, and one night became separated from the group of friends that I was attending with. The bouncer accused me of having too much to drink and threw me out of the premises. The only thing I'd drunk that evening was water to keep me hydrated. My speech was hindered and the lights and sound had affected my ability to communicate in a meaningful way. Left alone in a car park for hours. In fact, I didn't stay in the car park but wandered and was found several hours later walking in the direction of home by the side of a busy road in a confused and bewildered state. Another time at a Christmas function when my children enjoyed Christmas carnivals, they're grown up now, I found myself right next to the barge where they let off the fireworks. I became incredibly traumatised by the bright lights, the massive noise, and for the life of me, I couldn't communicate what was wrong and navigate out of the situation. My speech did not work and my world collapsed. Around 5 years ago, when crossing the road, I did not see the slope of the gutter correctly, tripped on the footpath and fell heavily. I became blurry and a bit traumatised. Fortunately, a lady bystander came up real quick, got me out of the sun and managed to get enough information to call my partner. These are just a couple of examples of how easily I became vulnerable and lost my ability to communicate effectively. I've often found myself thinking back all those years when Dad made that card about Mum's challenges and reflecting on all the times I could have used something similar for myself. But life went on. About 10 years ago, my brain injury was finally diagnosed and I applied to Queensland Disability Services, only to be informed they had no funding. I was advised that NDIS was being released nationally and I would have to wait till it was released in my area. Over the next 6 years, I then went to multiple presentations to learn about what the NDIS was supposed to do for disabled people in Australia. On the exact day of my 30th brain injury anniversary, I got a snail mail to inform me I was successfully accepted as an NDIS participant. Yay! Thankfully, getting adequate support for the past 3 years has minimised those incidents, but due to me wanting to be so independent, these situations still arise. I was seeing an advocate earlier this year who had a client that was accepted into the Be Your Own Boss program. She thought I might like to participate. So I looked up the course. The website told me it was full. So I wrote in my application requesting to be added to a cancellation list. I got a phone call the day before the second class of mentoring. So I dropped everything so that I could attend. The first session I attended was a motivational session where a local Gold Coast participant had created a charity for mental health that assisted with a companion bird rehoming. I was asked, what accessibility needs do you require? By explaining exactly what I required and why, the team was so grateful for the suggestions, and everything I asked for was adapted into the functions of the course. Most normal people find it difficult to articulate what they need and were surprised at how many of my requests benefit them as well. I felt like I was seen, heard, and part of the team. I knew I was in the right place at the right time. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Mark. We covered a lot of topics over the past 6 months, from creating a business plan, marketing, keeping financial records, and my favourite, networking with as many people as possible and businesses. Asking other students to provide their services helped develop comradeship and build on networking in a safe environment with the Be Your Own Boss cohort. Thanks, Brent. My wanting to help a lot of people is what has led me here today. Back in 2019, I rallied a close-knit bunch of friends and started building the groundwork for a brain injury awareness charity. Ability ID is the end result of years of desiring to provide a solution for people just like me and the greater disabled community. What started as a rehabilitation and educational project has evolved into our charity mascot. Let me officially introduce Headley Smart and the VPIC program. Steve, would you just like to scroll around the website and have a little look so people can, while I continue to talk? Thank you. I've had some sample VPIC safety cards that I wish to share with you today. I do ask that they be returned. Shirley in the audience is going to start handing them around so you can have a look. And she's also got some business cards. Please take several to share with your colleagues and friends. It's talking. Exactly like the personal experiences I spoke about earlier. It's still got some glitches in it, we're working on it. Exactly like the personal experiences I spoke about earlier, every day in communities around Australia, many hundreds of vulnerable people often find themselves in a situation where they're unable to tend to their own needs when they may need it most. The VPIC Safety Program is a unique program that promotes visual, social and emergency identification for people living with brain injury, autism, dementia and stroke. We're all champions. In the case of a mild event, accident or emergency, any goodwill bystander can offer immediate assistance and more readily focus on the cardholder's initial needs, strengths, capacities and communications. When engaging in daily needs, social events and accessing the community or public transport services, VPIC members will feel more confident, self-assured and safe. The VPIC safety card identifies the member's primary impairment, their name, photo identification and their primary contact and contact details. A unique feature is a scannable QR code that links to the member's personal VPIC safety page, where you find much more insight and information about the card holder. The reverse side of the card contains a calm yet clear social statement that can be displayed publicly when out in our communities. The VPIC safety page is a vital component, and the VPIC safety program that contains 8 categorised impairment areas where the member selects up to 24 individual challenges, their residential suburb and state, as well as secondary contact details. It's pretty awesome. We're raising money to sponsor 10,000 VPIC safety program members. Your gift will support people living with brain injury, autism, dementia and stroke champions, with flow-on effects benefiting tens of thousands of people, families and communities Australia-wide. Our website's currently offline whilst in the final stages of completion and undergoing rigorous testing for ease of use, security and compliance. 4 levels of membership applications will be open online from the 1st of January 2023. Please support us if you can. Donations above $2 are tax deductible. Every gift makes a difference. The Management Committee have approved an exclusive live preview of the website, but only for a few hours today. Feel free to browse the website, scan the QR code, and don't forget to check out Headley's sample VPIC safety page. As LACs, I'm sure you know thousands of individuals and families that the VPIC safety program would benefit. Although the charity will provide this as a free service for participant members, it does come at a cost of $10 per member that will require 100% funding through gifting, donations, grants and corporate support. I hope I've inspired you and encouraged you to share Ability ID's vision and program with corporate partners and supporters. We are all in this together. Thank you so much for inviting me to share my vision and journey with you all.
Questions?
Questions? Yeah?
Okay. Has anybody got any questions for Leanne?
How do we donate?
On the business cards that are being handed out, there's a donation QR code.
We get to donate twice. I'll donate twice for sure.
Any other questions for Leanne, I guess, about her experience with her brain injury, her association that she's created, her Your Own Boss program or anything else like that?
I just think it's incredible that something so far back in your memory about helping out has led to this amazing business concept.
Yeah.
It's like, I think we all have those things that we just set aside, but you've just brought it right to some really powerful and important.
It's so important to me that this is available to all Australians that need it, not only the disabled, but for the general public, so that they can help them in situations. Because there's nothing worse than, are you all right? And you're not getting an answer and you don't know if they're non-verbal, whereas the card will clearly state that they're non-verbal. That's just one example off the top of my head. Yep.
Hi, Dwayne. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you, Dwayne.
Oh, hi, Leanne. How are you?
Hi Dwayne, I'm well, thank you.
So one thing I want to congratulate you on is, you know, how you come from such a dark place, and yet, you know, you've empowered yourself, you know, through that dark place, if that makes sense. You know, and I think that's such a great example of you know, what people with disabilities can achieve, you know, because, you know, as you know, people with disabilities, you know, at times come from that, you know, such a helpless state, or, you know, being so excluded. So I think your journey is such a good example of how you can become more empowered, but not only that, but share that empowerment with others, because, you know, that's the whole point of our journeys, right? Is to not only empower ourselves, but to empower others. So, more props to you.
Thank you so much. I found that the more people that I talk about my disability, the more help that I get. I was in a very dark place for a long time, and I was an ostrich. I had my head down and bum up. I'm not brain injured, I'm okay, I'm moving through my world. Yet now that it's all turned around, it's become diagnosed, I've got help, I'm very verbal about what help I need. And I'm finding that people bounce off me in that way. So thank you.
Big round of applause for Leanne and for Gwen as well.